Hello, hello, hello. We are back. Welcome to the show. I'm just getting everything fired up here. And thank you for joining us again. Here we are. There I am. You can hear me now. And looks like we got one viewer. So that's amazing. I'm going to hit play on all the VCRs. We got 8 VCRs here. We got 4 cameras. We have, well, 3 cameras are on me, and then a feedback loop. There's the feedback loop. And yeah, it's the monster is always growing. You know this. You know this. And soon we will be moving. But that has not happened yet. So this may or may not be the last jam. I think it will be the last one, but we will let you know. All right, I'm going to quit yapping and let's get on to the show.
You're not about to say mine's a body you'd love to guard, because if you do, I'll tie your tail in a knot. I'll just be a few minutes.
Wow, it's so weird. I swear sometimes that woman could read my mind.
Yeah, well, we got news for you, bro.
It ain't real hard.
Whoa. Ed class.
A whole lot of here, please.
I'm not sure what happened to the sound there.
The conditions that produce the optimal genetic expression at the time.
You are Leonardo, the man sent to me by Lorenzo de Medici of Florence. A man who travels all this distance to Milan just to tell me he can build a bridge. That's true. Your letter to me contains many promises. Aren't you exaggerating?
That we're going to do, and we have a little scruffy for passing the centers so that we can do multicolor at one time, right?
Yes. I beg leave to experiment.
Brush, which I use a lot of water with, actually.
My hand, an old book. This book has affected our entire generation. It's called Origin of Species and the Descent of
Oslo, very.
Stonehenge was a Roman temple. Stonehenge was a coronation site built by Danish invaders. Finally, in 1740, the scholar John Aubrey, perhaps England's first true archaeologist, was a temple of the Druids, a powerful Celtic religious sect that held sway over England 5 centuries before Christ. Subsequent
Go shopping, I would suggest that you come here to the design.
Told you, doll.
Hey, How'd you like a titanium tip reminder of road safety hot stuff?
Oh, this lady.
I'm sure that you'll be much happier with what you get. The Norwegians have long been noted for their beautiful enamel work on silver.
The land, nature, and the sky, and stars if it's at night, or the sun if it's during the day, and believe that God or the divine manifests in nature.
Hail to thee, O earth, the womb of all life.
To me personally, it's a temple, a place where I can go and give thanks to God.
May bring us rain in the next 36 hours.
Jeff Rockstad is out on the road in the CTV Jubilee Ford TrueView Escape Hybrid, keeping you informed on the weather, people, and events happening in your community.
Watch CTV News for your up-to-date forecast 4 times a day.
CTV Jubilee Ford TrueView Escape Hybrid, brought to you by Jubilee Ford. Shop Auto Trim.
These cultures. We now know that Stonehenge was built in phases, beginning perhaps as early as 3500 BC, and ending.
One of his devotees in this generation that has just passed was philosopher Bertrand Russell. Philosopher Bertrand Russell
Also,
wrote,
what you do is you practice on this, and we take our wipes. We've got some one-stroke wipes here you can wipe it with, or a wet paper towel. This will get up dry paint really good, so I like to wipe this off. Okay, and practice again. So it's water-based. You don't have to worry about the smell. You're going to like that. It's going to help you lay out the rows stroke by stroke on the teaching.
Are destined to extinction in the vast death of the solar system.
He heard the sound of the water, saw the mist, the horizon disappearing in fog. He discovered what landscapes were really like, things he had only guessed about previously. In the notes for his projected treatise on painting, he wrote,
"If you paint objects in the open countryside, paint them with an intervening mist,
unyielding despair,
so that the borders of light and shadow are never rigid.
Which we must build the realization."
He thought of the long Lombardy twilight as a moment which heightened and enhanced the beauty already there.
We're dipping in a little bit of yellow, and we're dipping in berry wine. So we're multi-loading the brush now. All right, now you don't go and work it in like this. All you do is dip, 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 and right here is where we're gonna go. 1, 2, 3, okay? 1, 2, 3 gets me ready. You might go 4, 5, 6 if your color doesn't look like you want it to look. Now I can tell the minute I touch this, I need floating medium. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna dip straight into the floating medium, dip straight in, go right here. Only do that about every 3rd to 4th stroke. If you use too much color.
Don't you know me? I'm de Predis. I'm Roger de Predis. Ah, yes, yes, now I recall. The Confraternity of the Conception have contracted my brother and me. They want us to paint a triptych for the church of San Francesco Grande. It's for the high altar, and they're paying 800 lire. But I know we can't do it alone, so my brother and I immediately thought of you. You'll paint the panel in the center. They want a Madonna. A virgin in the company of an angel. That is neither man nor woman. An angel that smiles.
Or ring on top of the upright pillars.
Leonardo's friendship with the mediocre but enterprising de Predis brothers brought him his first opportunity.
Acceptable explanation is creation. Now, class, is he justified in making... Two of the world's leading academic scholars, astrophysicists,
Revolutionary in painting. For in addition to the
Strokes, up and over. And then we're gonna do a U, line to line, the same exact height that we did the first stroke. See, up and over? That's the beauty of it. If you don't like what you've done, you just restroke over it, okay?
Tennessee, the Bourbon Street, all the small towns and the bars between, all the sexy girls with rock star dreams. New place, a new face to meet backstage. No excuse to be bold like any other day. So many different ways to misbehave. So many different ways. Show me the place where the whiskey flows. Let's get loaded. Get wild and wasted, crazy stone. Let's get loaded. Let's get loaded. From Seattle.
Country and respect for his king. Thousands parade through the streets of Oslo, waving their flags high and proudly. Norway does have a king. It's a democratic monarchy. The members of parliament,
But the beauty and the power
who planned the
Stonehenge
country,
lie
king,
mysteries.
figurehead. Know of no other country in the world where the king is more loved than here in Norway.
Suddenly you don't feel so great anymore. Big lungs later. You hit the snooze bar. You
Pieces down.
hit the snooze bar.
Hey,
You hit.
Mr. Limbo.
You start so up with
Deep mountainous terrain. But believe it or not, went up to the
Dig hard rock, but this is...
Shut up! No talk!
I have a riddle.
Oh, that's nice.
Let us say there are certain hunters. And the more animals they kill, the fewer animals they have. And yet the more that they have, the fewer will be killed. Who are they? The more animals they kill, the fewer animals they have. And yet the more that they have, the fewer will be killed. Finish it, Your Excellency. The more that they have, the less die. What is it?
Now listen, the more they kill, the less they have. What is it? Hmm? Don't you know what it is? Don't you know? Guess. Eh? No, 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 no. He knows. All right. Listen, listen. I'll explain it to you. Ready? It means our lice.
Oh, yes. The court, which was presided over by Lodovico the Moor, was at times very refined, at times extremely common. Lodovico, though he held fantastic banquets for visitors at court and sponsored great spectacles executed solely by his director, Leonardo da Vinci, also had a vulgarity that couldn't be denied. Do you have to be as loud as all that? It's interesting that Leonardo, who had nothing in common with the shallow idlers at court, spent so many years seeking the favors of the powerful.
And our vines and our calyx, let's come up here and we'll do the stem here, all right? And we'll do the calyx up here. What we're doing is, if you see, I'm leading with the lighter color. We touch, we lean forward, we lead with the lighter color coming around. And I'll show you in a minute how you can do this with the angle brush and be even easier, because see, I have to tilt back to get the yellow out of the way and then slide up. See this? Touch, lean, tilt back. Okay.
Operation journey targeted for this occasion. Paul.
Let's show you how to use a script liner. I'm going to show you a few brushes that are going to be fun for you to use, and then we're going to start building the design in a minute and teach you a little bit more about design. All right. Now, what we want to do is we want to dip into our water 3 times. So maybe I'll better move over closer to the water so you can see this better. The script liner, we dip into water and see we lay right next to our green. And see, every time I come around, I touch the puddle, touch the puddle, touch the puddle. I do that in a circular motion, but see, I'm not standing up. I lay the bristles down so that they can make circular motion and grab the green. Now, what you want to do is you don't want to use floating medium for this because it'll be too thick. We want inky. Now, the difference in inky and pasty or watery, look, you roll the brush and you see, if you pull it out like this, and it's like a big beaded up. And it's
Why did Leonardo begin his studies of anatomy?
Of space-time dimension. He stated, the construction of nature points to a purposeful designer, and in another treatise stated that the cause outside the space-time dimension that the beautiful Earth, as originally designed, with a myriad life forms, with a supporting infrastructure designed inside the globe, with a core keeping the electromagnetic field oriented, with radioactive elements inside the Earth, giving precise nuclear
human body. Now he no longer sought only to paint its exterior, but to delve into its inner mysteries, its complex structure of veins, nerves, and tissues. Beginning his studies as a painter, he continued them as a scientist, and he carried on this research for the rest of his life. There is little point in marveling at the contribution his treatise on anatomy would have made to contemporary science. For like many of his works, it was never finished. As usual, new fields of interest constantly distracted him, and his probings and discoveries in one area of knowledge inevitably posed a dozen questions in other areas. Thus, in his efforts to give greater depth to the figures in his paintings, he encountered
Because they're the biker mice from Mars!
Those old buildings are in striking contrast to the rest of Bergen.
Each side of the Great Pyramid is longer than 7 football fields. Its base covers more than 13 acres, and it rises
speedily to the various communities along the coast.
Only one means.
Well used on the weekends and during summer vacation.
Rather, so some say, the gods themselves, or even visitors from another planet, must have had a hand in their creation. It is only the modern era that has produced a plausible explanation for how this astonishing feat of engineering and construction could have been.
You can see its outline and tone on a piece of white paper. That is how an image forms in the eye.
Leonardo was among the first to depict the eye in a way that might suggest the workings of a modern camera.
Then the area was
experimented with various methods of solidifying the eye by boiling it in the white of an egg
to the 4 points of the compass. To level the foundation, a gridwork of trenches was built. Water, flooded into the trenches, was used as
I'm
a
going to pick up even another color. Let's use
2 sticks of equal length, held touching the water.
I'm going to use here. Now I'm going to ask.
The religions of the world have a common tenet in its or deities. These deities are always found in conflict. Now that's extremely important. Class, understand that created a religion.
Same idea. I'm going to have an L shape.
These are very modern and progressive in their thinking.
One way to help you.
They do realize the value
Rose
of their
might be
traditions because the traditions have made them what they are today. Many old world traditions prevail in the small communities, such as here in Voss, which is an hour-and-a-half's train ride from Bergen up in the mountains, where the youngsters are taking part in a mock wedding before their proud parents.
After the capstone had been placed on the final tier of stones, masons dressed the exterior with layers of fine white limestone, leaving a smooth, gleaming surface. Only a fragment of the limestone can still be seen at the summit of Khafra's pyramid. It was long believed that the pyramids were built by slaves. How else could sufficient labor have been marshaled for the prodigious task?
It has its own distinct style, and this comes from the area around Voss. It's obviously an expensive hat, so it's generally rented from one of
into teams or gangs. They would work in rotation for several months each year, throughout the decades needed to the problem.
Dead or alive.
Spoke to these young people
So
before
we're
the
here to
wedding.
collect the reward.
They told me that it really didn't make any difference to them.
Opportunity to serve their kings, who would become gods.
Sensitive enough to their parents' wishes to do this.
More than 80 pyramids still stand in Egypt.
I had the fries, I had the cheesecake, and now I'll have the Tums. Tums has calcium.
Only Tums contains Efical brand calcium, a refined form of calcium which your body can absorb easily. Tums helps relieve heartburn fast and gives you calcium.
Something my body uses anyway. So what do you have? Have the goulash, have the fries, have the cheesecake.
What does it? The whole side-to-side thing. Now, look what happens here. My berry wine's getting in my way to get smaller. So perfect time to get my angle brush. Okay? Now, this angle brush had the berry wine on it still, so I'm going to pick up some red, work it in. Okay? Work that back and forth. Now, we're going to come in here, because you can do a lot with
Avenue to see if this is the God of the universe. Well, first, let's examine the universe. We have this wonderful chart, which has taken 30 years of research to be able to delineate into details and has been expressed in artistic design.
Get that done pretty easily, just like I just did here. But if you're a new painter...
The horse rearing, a pose we find in many of his works. He imagined Francesco Sforza striking a fallen foe. But then he decided upon a more tranquil figure, similar to the famous Regisola at Pavia, which, by the way, no longer exists. The Moor was in a hurry. However, he constantly diverted Leonardo with other demands.
First of all, let's see what we find in the universe. As we observe the cosmic background, the stellar heavens, and planet Earth, and all that we observe in our personal experience, there is
I'm going to come up here and put another one here. Remember, really tight, bigger, and then put a little bit of petals on the side, remembering that when the green comes around, this is going to cover up.
Really came to be known as the Feast of Paradise.
That's a magician.
The Feast of Paradise was ordered by by Lodovico to celebrate the marriage of his nephew, John Galeazzo, nominally the Duke of Milan, to his...
As we look into the stellar heavens and observe the plants and insects,
Looks like you worked hard to get all this pretty shading in there. Okay, so think about it. What color are you leading with a lighter color? You're gonna.
you find a recognition of righteousness, good above bad, right above wrong. You find an observation of love and life. Think with me, class. Since we observe these in our expressions of life, watch. The first cause of limitless space must be infinite. The first cause of unending time.
Connect to everything you love in life with BlackBerry.
Green. Jib. Powder. Love drug. Juicy.
Learn the language before your kids do. For your booklet on how to talk with your kids about drugs, visit drugprevention.gc.ca or call us. A message from the Government of Canada.
Justinian saw himself as God's vice-regent, with a divine mandate to propagate the true faith of Christianity. Hagia Sophia was to be the embodiment of heaven on earth. No expense was spared for the massive undertaking. A workforce of 10,000
is finally coming to an end.
Sometimes this job just ain't fun. Time to settle up accounts.
Didn't your mom ever tell you not to play with fire? Whoa!
To Unlimited, Max, Bizarre, Salt and Pepper, and more.
I can go right back on top of this. Now the floating medium gives it a shadow leaf effect. I keep picking up straight green. Look at this. I'm going to lay out this design. I like clusters of 3 with roses. Okay, because the rose petal, the rose leaf actually does come in 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, what really gives us interest in this rose, or spray here that we have, is that we can start adding some other colors. Now, right now, see how I'm keeping my L shape? That's real important. I want you to look. You have to get back and look at this quite often.
All right, everybody. It's already been 31 minutes. Can you believe it? Wow. This is a crazy jam. I'm going hard. I'm going hard this time. I'm using more effects. I'm switching quicker. I hope you like it. We got commercials. We got Leonardo da Vinci. We got painting. We got religious content. We got biker mice from Mars. Oh my God. Wow. Hopefully we don't get flagged. I really hope we don't. Anyways, we're going to keep the train rolling. I'm going to stop yapping. Okay, so, yeah, there's the wreck. There's the shots. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
A few years ago, the government introduced a program of animal husbandry.
Right to create in his design and his purpose. Back to the concept. In the beginning, God created the heaven, space-time dimension, and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. It was simply a nebulous of water. Had we been there, we could have stretched our arm through the entire body and touched nothing but water. It did not yet have a shell form. That was not until day number 3 that we get the creation of the dry land. It was water without form and void. On day number 2, the Spirit of God will move upon that water in a special dimension. Later on day number 1.
Finger. What I'm doing is I'm doing these curls. I'm pulling away from my design so my finger doesn't run on top of it. Pull away. All right, and then maybe some up here. This also is the brush I'm going to sign it with. See this? I like to sign it with a green so it looks like people have to try to find your signature. I've sold a lot of my paintings before, and the husbands are always saying, find where she signed that. They get a kick out of doing that. They think it's fun. All right, and when we do it with green, it makes it harder to find that disguised little stroke. All right, now I'm going to use a filbert brush. And we're going to come in here and put some little clusters of lilacs or...
We're stopping. Bring everything down from the scaffolding.
All right. Aggressive concepts. But it is true that in the creation model, you have the space-time dimension called the heavens in plural, and the
kind of makes him look like a reptile, eh? A little bit. That's my green glitch.
According to our current...
That actually happened when I used to have my computer hooked up to a tube TV, and there was this weird glitch that would happen when I would turn it on. Yeah, I got a pink one and I got a green one, so I haven't introduced the pink one yet, but soon I will. Anyways, I'm gonna stop yapping.
It accounts for the deep penetration.
This is what I find a lot.
Should that state? Oh, yes. In the studio of Leonardo, a new pupil appeared. Salai.
Oh, I think so.
Get away from there. Those furs are for other savages.
Let's go on.
He's a devil. Well, as I was about to tell you, these are for the wild men on the parade. I designed them just as they're shown in all the books.
Amazing.
They'll look like barbarians of the Orient. Pelts.
It's 2,000 years old. It grows Christmas trees, juniper branches.
Great time should come.
Oh, this is a classic 90s commercial from Point Optical. It was a staple in Saskatchewan, and if you're wondering what city that is Saskatoon. Yeah, Saskatchewan. I'm letting the cat out of the bag now. Yes, we are in Saskatchewan. That's right.
To the financial benefactors of this event, the thousands of campers who have attended Camp Easter Seal.
Know that research shows proceeds have focused on building cabins that offer an even wider range of
matrimony or the convent. And it wasn't hard to select matrimony. Marchese Bergamini, do you know him? Festivals, pageants, carnivals. Why do you waste your great abilities, Maestro Leonardo?
Phenomena. Matter has all of those involved in its very makeup. So since all that we find in the cosmos is a trinity in expression...
His bride soon compelled him to banish his gentle mistress from Milan. Thus, the only woman who may have aroused any feelings of affection in Leonardo left his life forever.
That can be almost any color. You can even use a burnt umber if you want it to look or a raw umber if you want it to look like a little white rose. You have to have something to give it depth.
Did you fix them? They're all finished. Then dress the others. Right away. About time.
Get up there, let him see you.
Just a minute, you. Go inside and get dressed and hurry.
The tournament.
It's as easy as picking up.
Palazzo da San Severino, commander of the ducal troops.
As the sun as an expression of God himself. Now,
It became as famous as the Feast of Paradise.
Murder, she wrote.
And like the sacred texts of other faiths, Borobudur contains many chapters and stories full of mysteries and meaning, meditations and morals.
Kids, love you guys. Here comes another chopper again. Get out.
The building of Borobudur, which took 70 around 760 AD. The more than 1 million stones in the monument quarried from the
Count up, Charlie.
Gosh, lighten up, will ya?
You don't know my past. I can't say as I'll blame 'em.
stones were to
Locals buy their food.
Listen, pal, only reason we're going along with this is because bad as you were, Limburger's worse.
And in our book, that gives you a running head start. But that's all. We still want you out of here.
That's right. And to do that, we need to get you to Limburger's trans...
Norwegian strawberries are outstanding in flavor and size. Raspberries, plentiful in Norway. Raspberries often grow wild along the country road. All you have to do is stop your car along the edge of the road, reach out the window, and gorge yourself on fresh raspberries. You often find signs in English. Local residents.
You see, we're holding all the cards here. I mean, we've got the numbers. We've got the guts.
And we've got the guns.
So basically, you just better back off.
Ways kings were crowned.
100 years after construction was completed, the civilization that built Borobudur vanished abruptly. Later records refer to some great calamity, perhaps an earthquake or massive volcanic eruption. The verdant jungle quickly reclaimed Borobudur, hiding.
Night sky doesn't get dark in the summer in Norway.
Rediscovered
Norway in the summer.
In 1814, 200 men, 6 weeks hacking away the growth that covered the mountain.
Time. What happened to it?
But I...
Who did you sell it to? The shoemaker?
of the Trinity. It has solid, liquid, and gaseous forms.
About 20 solidi.
But I'm going to make mine big because when you're through, people still can tell that's a rose. Now,
Successful restoration that
everything that they need
and cost $25 million.
I've got no choice. Every time I try to get out.
Yours easier. With McDonald's breakfast. We know how to make your morning, no matter how it starts.
Good morning to food, soaps, and fun.
Tonight, the case.
is about as hard as a board at this time, and then soaking it in a solution of lye about 6 weeks before Christmas.
Around 620 BC.
In about 3 weeks,
teach the cardinal virtues of morality, patient.
You gave your word.
If my word was worth anything, I wouldn't be much of a villain, now would I?
To serve as one of the traditional dishes. It might sound terrible, but it does taste pretty good. That is, if you don't have to eat it more than once.
CTV News with Sandy Ronaldo, sitting in Beverly Thompson.
Good evening. It's the community where everyone knows their neighbors, where families feel safe. But tonight, residents of a small Quebec town are reeling after the brutal murder of a mother of two. Nancy Michaud was taken from her home 3 nights ago while her toddler and 6-year-old slept. Today, her body was found in the basement of an abandoned house not far away. It happened in Rivière-Ruelle, 140 kilometers northeast of Quebec City.
Magnetic field would keep the sphere in shape and keep the electromagnetic field above it in place. It would also do something else. When these water molecules would go back to their natural random tendency, that means that normal
came with Israel's creation in 1948. I want to go to see where I was born. I want to see the house, she says, waving what she says is the key to the home her family left when they fled Jerusalem. Bush held back-to-back meetings with Arab leaders to promote the U.S. as an honest broker. He pressed the Saudis on oil, the Palestinians on peace. His speech made subtle demands for reforms in Arab countries. Bush's relentless optimism of a deal between Israel and the Palestinians by the end of his term is a disconnect from reality. Negotiators here can't agree on removing checkpoints, let alone imply progress with core issues like borders or security. Before. Janice Mackey-Freire, CTV News, Jerusalem.
For Canadian soldiers trying to bring peace and stability to southern Afghanistan, this is a time of heightened concern. The reason? The poppy harvest is almost usually means more recruits for the Taliban. This year there's a difference. The Canadians are trying to fight bullets and bombs with jobs. CTV South Asia Bureau Chief Paul Workman explains.
For many Afghans, the poppy harvest is a vital part of their yearly income. It's crude, messy work, thumbing off the sticky resin.
We all know what this was.
But these men get paid $10 a day. And that's good money in a country where poppies are plentiful, but jobs are not. What happens if stuff leaves here, says Shawali.
Right.
This would automatically give an electromagnetic field and a deposit, a near-orbit deposit in the line.
Athletes are humans who can make mistakes, who can fail.
Villains and demons.
They love the game, and they believe they can win.
Could have come from the radiant energy of light alone. All the future atoms, all the future molecules, all of the stellar heavens, all of the living systems, according to current scientific, physical investigation, are a product of light. Now, we would certainly disagree with the timeline and the mechanism.
His nephew, John Galeazzo, was dead. Poisoned, it was rumored, by his ambitious and ruthless uncle. Once the title was his, Lodovico also took on a ruler's constant companions, fear and anguish.
Fortify. Yes, yes. Fortify. Fortify Vigevano, Novara. Fortify Pavia. Fortify.
The French were gathering at the border.
There we go. All right, so let's go to the other.
At UCLA, an experiment was run. Until the last few months, physicists have actually scoffed at a concept.
Start the V before you get started on
if you have a body of water,
pull the stem into
if
it.
you
now,
express
those are too exact.
a dimension
I don't want
of
those
sound,
exact, but that's what I needed to do
you
first
can then
to
produce light.
cover up those partial ones.
on July 16th, 1493. And he repeated the date twice. This repetition of the date has puzzled historians for centuries and deepened one of the greatest mysteries in Leonardo's life. All we can be sure of is the name and the existence of Caterina. Caterina. Who was this Caterina whose name makes an appearance amid all the writings of Maestro Leonardo? His mother?
Percussive waves of sound generated inside.
Okay, all right. Then up here.
A mother. What's more, why not say came to live with me? Leonardo has very simply written, arrived. We infer...
If you have a body of water, and near that body of water, you express incremented sound, thus you have light expressed. That's exactly what the creation model has stated from the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. That is totally consistent with modern scientific research.
If life were like that, you wouldn't need a Visa card.
If only your taste buds could talk. They'd tell you about Triffon's great pizza offer.
Oh, Triffon's, that sounds so good right now. Oh, boy.
Pizza with 2 toppings at no extra cost. But that's not all. You also get a 32-ounce Pepsi free of charge. Triffon's great pizza offer. Sunday through Thursday, 4 till 8 p.m. at all locations. Pick it up. Have a
large as we now observe it to be.
Styled expressionist, punctuate.
Dot, the edge of that even like.
Space-time dimension. Time and space are interrelated. And all that God would place. Day number
is all it says.
Look like mine, you want to know why?
Throughout the
Say it again, then.
Toward the barrack.
Station D, Ottawa, Ontario, K1P6H8, or email complaints at cbsc.ca. To obtain a copy of the Statement of Principles and Practices, write us at P.O. Box 9, Station O, Toronto, Ontario, M4A2M9.
Hey, Creekers, how would you like to attend a concert on the set of Dawson's Creek? Tune in to Global for the season premiere October 4th. Answer the trivia
question. Marginally.
The faces of the men and women.
Okay, see how we build that design? I'm going to go ahead and put some curly cues in.
Too sorely.
Here too, these coastal steamers play an important role in the country's transportation system. There are 14 coastal steamers. It takes 12 days to go from Bergen,
where for 250 years came to worship.
There are many.
In the 4th century A.D., Constantine, the first Christian emperor of Rome, erected a church over the burial site.
Although we are almost within sight of the North Pole, the summers here are
16th century. Pope Julius
down the main we came up where was the most manhandled.
endless pages of notes in all the books left by Leonardo. Caterina's name was never mentioned again.
Look who decided to join the show. His name is Vito, and he's a Norwegian forest cat. He's got an extremely long tail, too, by the way. Anyways, nice little cameo, Vito. If you want to check out his photos on Instagram, go to Vito Moonbaby. Moonbaby is his little bro.
Emphasize the importance of that field of electromagnetic energy. Scholar R.O. Beck.
In 1493, the Duchy of Milan was ruled by Lodovico.
A flash from the Lindbergh estate. It reads as follows. If the kidnappers of our child are unwilling to deal directly, we fully authorize Salvi Spitali and Irving Spitz to act as our go-betweens. We will also follow any other method suggested by the kidnappers that we can be sure will bring the return of our child. Signed,
Another thing Vito likes to do is he likes to get into the mess of the cables, right? I don't know if you saw The Last Jam, but he likes to jump into the box of cables and everything. He likes to muck it up, you know what I'm saying?
An eccentric, semi-retired teacher who lived in the box. Condon had placed an advertisement in the Bronx Home News, offering his life savings if the kidnappers agreed to use him as a go-between.
In the middle of summer, the sun doesn't get any farther above the horizon than what we see here. Because of the low angle of the sun, there are long shadows that reach across the countryside, silhouetting the Arctic wilderness against the eternal glow of the heavens. But soon, the gentle rays of the sun return color and beauty to northern Norway.
Is more magnificent than Bernini's Cathedra Petri, the throne of Peter in glory. Placed in the rear of the apse, the cathedra is actually a reliquary, a protective covering of bronze and gold.
It's a matter of choice. Only Raider has what it takes to be top choice in fiberglass truck caps. Raider is the unique choice to give your truck a spirited, sporty look and a touch of class. Kelly's RV also carries lowrider lids, a complete line of truck and trailer accessories, generators, air conditioners, and replacement parts for your RV. Kelly's is also equipped to service your plumbing, electrical, and propane needs. Kelly's RV Center, 2802 Miners Avenue at 51st, Saskatoon, for real value.
Royal Bank Financial Group. From our member companies comes a team.
Go 90 ton.
These were handed over at another cemetery in the Bronx.
A rakia. The word rakia means to compress.
I have a fresco done by a famous painter. And you, Maestro, will be able to eat again.
Flies.
I think you
and
know
to me, that makes a huge difference on how your piece looks. But let me show you. If you just use floating medium, elegant. This is floating medium on a frosted plate, and all
Structures of its kind in the world. The sun streams through its windows and fills the church below with what can only be described as a holy light. And directly beneath the soaring dome and the great altar is one of the holiest of all Catholic shrines.
One thing was clear. The delivery of the sleeping suit proved that the gang with which Jafsy had been negotiating had taken the baby and killed him. But the police were no nearer to establishing their identity. On the 21st of May, the police returned to the Lindbergh home. Lindbergh ransom money was turning up in New York, but there were no leads. A massive police...
Celebrities are wrestling with government emission standards and trying to meet higher customer expectations for finish quality.
Hey, how's your day shaping up?
Each pope serves in a line of papal succession that can be traced back to Saint.
You believe it, sir? No. You know me, this is...
The pope is both the Bishop of Rome and the foremost teacher of the faith. For Catholics,
And there's a lot of... You got time? The New York Dolls and the Velvet Underground. Velvet Underground. Tina Turner. James Brown. Jackson 5. The Jackson 5. Jackson 5. Isaac Hayes.
Otis Redding. Chuck D. I like Maxwell.
Brian Ferry. Tito Puente and Kate Bush.
Kate Bush. Fiona Apple.
I love Fiona Apple.
The Beatles.
Fellas, you know we can't forget about
John.
The Beatles.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, family friend.
magnificent it may be.
Significant user benefits.
He had been born in Saxony in 1889. After fighting in the First World War, he'd served a jail sentence for armed robbery. He had entered the United States illegally. There he met and married his wife, Anna, another German immigrant, and got work as a carpenter. Their only
Automatic systems help manufacturers solve their finishing problems.
The couple prospered. Soon, Hauptmann's
92 cents. Smart shopper.
Smart dog.
Hey, Yellow, we're giving away $2 million in honor of the new millennium.
Yeah, the person who finds a special bag of all red Millennium M&Ms.
And in tiny grains.
This drawing, owned by the Venetian Academy, although more than likely it is not an...
Here come two. Oh, yeah.
in their hands, the police thought that they had got their man. He had a German accent, matched Jaff's description of Cemetery John, and lived in the Bronx. But Hauptmann had an alibi. That on the day of the kidnapping, he had worked all day at the majestic apartments on New York's 72nd Street. If this were true, it would have left him with no time to drive to Hopewell and kidnap the baby. Although Hauptmann was a skillful carpenter, he'd been employed on routine maintenance work at the Majestic. Hauptmann's story was confirmed by Joseph Furcht, his supervisor at the apartments. But there was still the ransom.
The king was Shah Jahan, the fifth.
Spray and bounce back.
Before the conman returned to Germany in 1933. Hauptmann had only opened the parcel soaked with water. As fish owed him money, Hauptmann had spent some of the certificates. Notes had almost certainly been written by someone whose first language. Hauptmann's spelling was good, but
Okay, that concludes our session for the night. I hope you enjoyed that one. I know I did. That was a lot of fun. So I'm going to just stop yapping. We've hit the 1 hour mark. And yeah, I think we're just going to end it there. So thanks again for watching. Follow me on Instagram because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes type stuff on my stories. I share, I don't know, 20 pieces of content a day. I've been going hard. So, yeah, thank you for watching. And have a good night.